Hapkido! Hoshinsul. My name is Alan Baris, and welcome to this Hapkido Hoshinsul video. Hapkido translates to the way of coordinated power. It's a Korean martial art that focuses on self-defense, not sport, like the more popular Taekwondo. Hoshinsul translates to self-protection techniques. In Hapkido, we practice a variety of movements. We practice strikes with the foot and the hand. But when we get to the Hoshinsul part, we're practicing techniques, self-defense techniques based on grabs of various parts of the body, defending against kicks, defending against punches. I have two objectives with this video. The first objective is to give you a flavor of what Hapkido is like being taught at Hapkido Cheukwan, Gangneung, South Korea, where I learned. My second objective is to teach you some techniques and, more importantly, principles that you can incorporate into your own training and use in actual self-defense situations if you find yourself in that hostile environment. The typical Hapkido class in South Korea is taught in segments. There's a segment where you work on kicks, there's a segment where you work on strikes, there's a segment where you work on falls, and then there's a section of the class that you work on the Hoshinsul techniques. These techniques will vary depending on your rank and the level of belt that you've acquired to what kind of techniques you're going to learn. In this video, I don't have the time to start you with the basics, which are always from a wrist grab. That's where all the Hapkido techniques originate from, because from the wrist grab you learn the proper motions and the body mechanics to utilize that technique. Later, after you've mastered that, you learn how to use those same techniques, the same principles, in a variety of forms. But again, since I don't have time to get you to practice this wrist grab, and all of the wrist grabs for a couple months before I go on to the next, and it's going to be a year down the road before I can teach you how to use those principles against a punch, I've grouped the techniques in this video, starting with the wrist grab to get the mechanics down, but going right from there to the other techniques based on that same body mechanics and that same principle. This way, by the end of this video, you should know those principles, and you can defend yourself from a grab, from a punch, from a bear hug, or from the wrist grab if you happen to find yourself in that situation. During the entire video, I want you to remember one thing. The principles we're showing are more important than the techniques. Hapkido has hundreds of techniques, and when you put them in the combinations, the numbers go up into the thousands. I can't show all of those to you here today. I've chosen a few that I feel best illustrate the principles and the body mechanics of the wrist, of the elbow, of the shoulder that I want to get across, so you can take these principles, put them into your own training regimen, whether that's as a formalized martial arts style or if you just train with your friends. But that way you can get these principles down, because only once you've mastered the principles, and you can use those under any kind of attack, can you effectively defend yourself in a hostile situation. The joint we're going to attack right now is the elbow. Elbow bends real easy this way, but when you get straight, it doesn't bend anymore. And that's the principle or the part of the anatomy that we're going to exploit with this technique. We're going to start off from a basic wrist grab. One, it's the way it's traditionally taught in Korea, and two, it's the easiest way to get across some principles that we want to do with this tape. So it's more important to learn the principles and the motions that we're going to do from the wrist grab. And then once you have those mastered, it's really easy to build on those. My instructor in Korea was very insistent that you have to get these basics down, then everything else will be easy. So the first thing we're going to do for this wrist grab is I'm going to step in and curl up a little. The reason I'm curling is a principle of going with his resistance. I want him to pull back a little and resist my curl. That's a natural reaction for him to resist, because when he resists, that's the way I want to go. And you notice it's just a circle motion. Everything in Hapkido revolves around circles. The second thing my Hapkido instructor in Korea insisted on is remember circles. With circles, everything in Hapkido is easy. So as he resists, I make a circle. As I bring my hand up here, I'm catching his hand, burying my thumb into the web, the pressure point in the web, hooking my fingers on the hand, not the wrist. If you're too far down on the wrist, your fingers get in the way. I want it on the hand and the thumb buried in here so I can bend the wrist up. So I'm actually putting a little bit of a wrist lock, which we cover in a different segment, on him at the same time. And I have his elbow pointed straight up, which means pressure on the elbow puts him down. I don't want to push him out this way. I want to go straight against that joint, which is down, and I want to step and get my body weight, so it's not just my arm pushing, it's my whole body weight putting him to the ground. I have control of the hand. I bury my knee into the shoulder. Now I can keep a lock on. I can strike this way. A variety of things you can do once you have him on the ground and you have him still in control. We'll go through that a little bit faster this time. You curl, he resists, so you make the circle, you catch, you lock the wrist, you have the elbow straight up, you put your weight, pressure, you drive him to the ground, you keep it locked. You have a variety of strikes that you can do from there. We'll speed up a little bit more. Quick circle, down. And you're right into where you can strike or hit anything you want to do from there. We'll go one more time. Step, circle, send him straight down. Control. We'll show how this can work with the opposite hand. It doesn't matter which hand he grabs you with. I'm still going to do the circle. Remember, circles are important. I'm just going to circle the other way. This time I don't have the wrist lock if he lets go. I mean, I have his wrist twisted as he grabs, but it's not the pressure I had before. But it's okay because I still have the elbow pointed up. Pressure on the elbow as I step with my left to get my body weight to help me. Pressure on the elbow puts him down, and I have the control. From here, if you want, you can reposition your hand if you want to go into control his wrist. If you don't just want to smash his head or finish up with a strike, if you just want to control, you will have to reposition your hand. Again, grabbing the web, the hand, pressing down to lock the wrist or to control. This works if he grabs with two hands. I'm doing the same circle. Same elbow is up, pressing down. If he grabs both hands, the same thing. I'm coming in, I'm putting my hands together so I can come up around, still a circle, breaks that loose. He can hold on, but when you do it fast, he's going to let go. You've grabbed, you're right in to put him on the floor again. Do that one a little quicker. And you're right there, and then you got it to the floor. With all of these, the key is to do it fast. And when we're doing for training, yes, I come here I push. In a real situation, any real situation, you come down on that hard and it's going to break the elbow more than likely, and that's okay because he shouldn't have been messing with you. So, in realistic, coming fast, smashing down on that to drive him to the floor. Okay, now we're going to show that same technique against a punch. Okay, I'm going to do it a couple times with different lead foot to show you how it doesn't matter if you're facing a guy right foot forward, facing a guy left foot forward, it doesn't matter. We're going to go against the right cross, because that's the most common punch that you're going to find out there of an inexperienced fighter. The overhand right, the right cross, variations of that is what most barroom brawlers resort to. So first we'll do this slow. I'm right foot forward as he comes. The key right here first is to get out of the way. You get off of his center line. And it doesn't really, you don't have to jump way out of the way. A little bit, a miss is a miss. So a little bit out of the way is fine. At the same time that I'm doing that though, I'm coming up with a block. I'm making sure the block covers my head. So coming up in front of my head and out. I'm grabbing that wrist. This should look familiar. I'm stepping through, repositioning the hand for the control. So a little bit quicker. If your left foot is forward, when your left foot is forward, you're stepping offline with your left, blocking, should look real familiar. Same thing. Now as we're doing this, I'm stepping offline, doing it really controlled, pressing straight down on the elbow to put him down. In a real situation, things are real sloppy. In a real fight, techniques do not work like they work in the dojo. So the key is to step offline, just get out of the way of the punch, and smash against his arm. I can hit it with my hand or anywhere along my forearm, that nice hard bone, to cause him injury. I can hit down here, smash, which can break the elbow. If I miss and hit him up here in the shoulder, it still sends him down in that direction. I'm still up here, and that's fine by me. So a little quicker. Okay, that's all I need. Boom. If it didn't, from there, he's on the ground, you can follow up, you can leave the area. So it doesn't matter as long as you get out of the way and go against that elbow joint. Not all of the techniques you have to wait for the person to grab you, the person to throw a punch for you. Most of these same principles work if you initiate the act. This is important if you're in law enforcement, if you're bouncing, occupations where it requires you to physically control an individual. So with this same principle, I'm going to step in, grab his hand. The key here is anytime you can grab the person's hand. I'm grabbing it and I'm bending that wrist up, which is pointing that elbow up, and again, straight in, and now I got the control. If you're a law enforcement officer or work in security, you can't be pounding on the guy once he's down, so you want to control that wrist, make him listen to you. Okay. So again, the key is being able to grab that wrist and pull it out. Okay. Once you're here, it's just like we were doing before, do your body pressure to send him to the floor. So that's a way that you can initiate it. And it doesn't matter, this guy, he's fighting this guy over here, you're coming up to intervene, you grab his wrist, you got his elbow in the right position, and you take him down. Okay. He didn't know you were even coming, you put him down without really hurting him. Okay. With the same principle, we're still working on the elbow. We'll show a little variation. This time we'll start from the grab. Remember, it's the easy way to learn a technique. I'm going to step forward, I'm going to break through his thumb. That's the way to escape. Anytime someone grabs your hand, the weak spot's the thumb. So as I escape from the thumb, I'm going to grab his hand there. I'm going to re-grab with my right, and this time I don't have his elbow pointed straight up. His elbow's pointed this way still. His hand position, as I pull that here, his elbow's pointing that way, so I do need forward pressure rather than downward pressure, and I'm going to hit him with this part of my arm. And I'm going to step through, so I'm stepping and hitting his arm this way to send him out down to the ground that way. You hit hard enough and you can break his elbow. Once here, you never leave his hands, you keep control, and you go right up in. You can spin, you can still put an arm bar wrist that way. You can spin him around so you can twist this way. Doesn't really matter as long as you keep control. You have your knee and your weight pinning him to the ground. You can strike down. A variety of things once you have him on the ground. So again, the keys are the escape and the grab. Grabbing with both hands, the elbow pointed out so that you smash that elbow here. Like I said, and for doing it for real, boom, okay? You stepping and smashing him, driving him to the ground, keeping hold, and quickly going down to control it. This same technique, we'll go back, remember that right cross? As he's punching, stepping offline here. Right there. Boom. Send him down again. I have control of the wrist. Exact same principles. We're just hitting the elbow different direction. If I'm right foot forward, I'm getting out of the way. And again, going straight into the technique. Try that one again. Getting out of the way. Now you have the strikes. Down to him. This one again, if you're wanting to initiate it, you just have to grab that hand. As long as you have that hand, look where his elbow's pointed, it's out this way, pop right through. Okay? Again, we'll look at him, he's facing somebody over here, you walk up, grabbing that hand, you see his elbow here, and just stepping through to drive him straight forward. You might drive him into the guy he's having the beef with if they're close, so you might have to pivot back, or I can take him around this way. This same technique works really well. We'll turn around again. If he's doing a punch, I'm getting offline, and I'm sending him right into this wall that's behind us. Okay? So instead of sending him to the floor, you send him into the wall you're next to, the pool table you're next to, the car. Okay? The key is the elbow is pointed out, and that makes him go this way. The elbow's pointed up, he goes down. The elbow's pointed out, he goes sideways. The next technique, we're still going to work on the elbow, but in quite a bit different way. So we'll go back to the wrist grab again to show the basics and the fundamental principles of it, then we'll advance up through the different stages. As he grabs, you're going to take the arc of your hand and come straight up where you can have control of the wrist. Okay, so real easy as he grabs, you're coming up. As you're doing this with your right hand, the left hand comes over, grabbing that pressure point again, right between right there in that fleshy part by the thumb, rotating it over. Again, you have the hand and the fleshy part, so you have that wrist locked up, and this hand is controlling the arm. Again, our elbow's up, but instead of pressing it down this way, we're going to be stepping through and smashing down on that with the elbow. For safety purposes, you just want to lock it in there. In reality, you'd be coming down and smashing very hard onto that upturned elbow. As we have here, what you want is you want to lock that in tight. If your arm is sort of out and you have this lock, it gives him too much room to play. So I want to lock that in tight, and you can see then I have him a little bit more control. Now a lot of people in different styles teach this as a lock and a controlling. In Hapkido, what we like, instead of stopping here, we take it all the way to the floor. Now to do this, what I'll be doing is this foot comes up and it's just sitting down. So we'll do it sort of slow here and take him straight down. And we still have this locked in, and by raising the hips, it gets the pressure on his arm that makes him want to give up. So go through a little faster but still slow. Coming up, grabbing, stepping through, sitting down, putting the pressure. Now we'll go through a little faster because we don't want the stop and holding him here. We want one continuous motion of sitting out. So I come up and sit down. The same technique, real common attack. You know, a guy in a bar wants to grab you and start pounding on your face, right? So we'll do this real slow first so I can show you what I'm going to do. As he grabs me, I got to worry about this punch first. I can't worry about this arm and do my technique and go ahead and punch. It's a little late, okay? So as he grabs and that punch is coming, I have to stop that punch first. The way you stop this punch when you're close is you stop it at the shoulder. An open hand, hit him right in the shoulder, and that's going to stop the punch. Once the punch is stopped and that threat is gone, you can go back to this arm to do the controlling and the takedown. So that, and if you want to throw this in there too, that's fine. Okay, that distracts him. So we'll go through it a little slow. Stop, come through, take down. Let's try that one more time. Stop, control, take it to the floor, pressure. So it's the same principle if he does a hair grab. I have to be careful if something's coming, so I'd have to stop that if it's there. If it's not coming, I can grab here and twist him a little, which makes it tougher for him to reach me with that hand. And as I have him twisted, I'm going to soften him up a little, and I'm going to punch him in the armpit. Traditionally, it's taught with the extended knuckle punch right into the armpit. If you're not familiar with that fist configuration, just a regular fist into the armpit works just as well. There's a lot of tender nerves right in here, so any good strike in there gives him some pain, softens him up, so then you can go right into the technique and you're locked in. You can control, sit out to take him to the floor. Okay? So it works. He grabs here, the front choke. He's got me here. I can loosen him up by pressing here in on his throat a little. That gives him a little reason to think about this and not think about me as much. So I've loosened him up. I'm into the technique, sitting, taking him to the floor if you want to go that far. When you're working against a punch, the traditional way it's taught over there in Korea is with an X-hand block. So as he's punching, you're blocking with the X hand, grabbing and coming around, locking, sitting out. The X-hand block is a little difficult in real fighting. This works just as well. The same block we did earlier, grabbing the wrist, turning the wrist as you come around so that armpit can smash onto that elbow as you're grabbing with your left. So it's a combination smash, grab, control here, or sit out to take him to the ground. If your left foot's forward and he's punching, you step off line, that same block, grab, twisting, smashing, sitting out. Another variation from a punch, and this, he's caught me, I'm just standing normal, and the punch is coming, here's the block. I'm stepping off line of the punch, pivoting my body a little, and the block is coming up my right hand. As I block, it's that motion, the wrist bends over, and there's your catch. Okay, so that's the movement of the right hand. Now, as you're doing that, the left hand is coming up also. So you're blocking, catching, and the left hand is just in there sort of helping, protect yourself. Now when I want to do the technique, I'm bringing him over, I'm keeping constant pressure with that left hand and wrapping it over, and now I have him tight again. Can do the sit out or do the control. This one is a little more advanced, and you have to be quick with that catch. If you miss the catch, that's okay. Go ahead and do it. I missed the catch, I'm still okay because I didn't get hit. And that's the key. I just go into something else. And that's with all these techniques. If you miss the first one, you flow into something else. But now let's make the catch. Roll it over. And you're into it. So it's just a real quick motion. Both hands and your wrist. You block, catch. Block, catch. Again. Okay, with all these techniques, I want you to remember the important part is the concept of the elbow. The technique is not important as knowing about the elbow. And that goes if he has me from a grab, a lapel grab, I can peel it off. I still got that elbow, it's right there to press down. Back to the wrist grab. Instead of our original escape, I can escape this way where I have the grab. Where's his elbow? Right there. Right into it. Okay. I can go the other direction. That same little escape. Pull it this side. Crash down there. I can use my hand to put the pressure. Crash down this way. It does not matter, what technique you use. It matters the principle of attacking that elbow. We go from a punch, we get over here because the right punch is most common, and you trap the hand here and use my chest. Remember, the key on this is getting out of the way. So as the punch is coming, I have to move. If I miss the trap, that's okay because I didn't get hit. But at the same time, coming up, trapping, I can use my arm or my chest to drop him down. As he's coming and I trap, I can spin him by pivoting backwards, spin him around into a wall, take him to the floor. There's a lot of variations. What I want you to remember is when the arm is straight, pressure on the elbow sends him to the opposite direction the elbow's pointing. That's the key fundamental to remember on these techniques, and you can make up many more, and it's up to you to get out there, explore the techniques, get with a training partner, and see how they work, and make up your own. Okay, the next joint we're going to attack is the wrist. We're going to start from the wrist grab again. Remember, we want to get the principles down. The first thing I'm going to do is step forward and curl up. This time, we're not curling up to get him to resist to make the circle. We're curling to make this space right here. With that little space there, I'm going to grab with those fingers, with my thumb on the back of his hand. My right hand, remember the weak spot's his thumb, is going to peel out of that thumb. If you need to, you can use your forearm, give you a little leverage there. You're peeling out. As you're doing that, you're twisting his wrist, grabbing with your right. Your thumbs go on the back of the hand. Your fingers go on the palm. You don't want your fingers down on the wrist because they're going to get in your way from the technique we want to do. We want the fingers up, the thumbs on the back, and then we want to bend that wrist. As we're doing that, we want to either step more with our right foot. You can step through with your left foot, and you put the pressure to take him to the ground. Once he's on the ground, there's a lot of things you can do. The traditional defense is to take his elbow, slam it up here as you slam your knee right down into his armpit and arm, and that leaves him open for the strike to the face, to the neck, to the solar plexus, palm heel to the face. It doesn't matter. Once you have him here, his whole body is open for your attack. We'll do it one more time slow here. So I'm curling up, grabbing, escaping, stepping into it. From here, I can go straight down, lock his elbow on the floor while I'm controlling with my knees, and then I can just put the pressure until the pain makes him tap out. Okay, you can break a wrist this way if you want to just put your whole body weight down and really crunch on the guy. So to speed it up a little, and one important thing, the reason I'm stepping here is so I'm in a stronger position. Out here, I'm weak. It's like when you're lifting something heavy, you don't lift it up like this. You lift it up close to your body. That's where you're strong. So by stepping forward, I'm stronger than him there. Okay, so I'm doing a curling motion. I want his arm straight. I want to be tight, close to my body. My strength, he's weak because we're away from his body. So once I have him here, I can grab, escape, and take him down, lock him in. Now faster. One more time. It doesn't matter which hand he grabs with. He has the other one. Here's his thumb, so that's where I have to escape. So I'm stepping, catching his hand, because as I pull out, it gives that opening so I can get those fingers in there. That escapes, grabs fingers on the hand, not the wrist, thumbs in the back, and take him down that direction. So it's real simple, flows right into the same thing. Okay, remember, we don't have to be attacked first for these techniques to work. He's having a confrontation with this guy, and I need him out of there. Again, I can come in, I'm grabbing his hand, turning it around, this hand, and putting him on the ground this way. Okay. From here we go into the variety of things. Tuck the arm under, got a nice shot to the solar plexus, shot to the head. The key on this one is the grab, the initial grab. You do have to turn your hand over and grab him this way. And you're grabbing his hand, wrenching it over. Remember, grabbing the hand, not the wrist, and then using this hand to put him to the ground. You can do that one just a little faster. You come up there, you just want him out of here. The same techniques work against a punch. You know, I'm standing here, it doesn't matter, right foot forward, left foot forward. As he starts to punch, I'm going to step off line with my left foot and block with my left hand. Okay? As I block, I'm grabbing. Grabbing with the other hand, bringing it back in front of me to drop him straight down. So the keys here, remember, always the key is getting out of the way and blocking the punch. If you miss the grab, it's okay as long as you didn't get hit. If I'm left foot forward, it's the same thing, stepping off line with the left. The block is there, then the grab. Grab with the other hand, bringing it back, put him on the ground. From there you got a variety of finishing techniques. Do it a little bit faster. The same technique works when the guy's in a fighting position. I come in, grab that hand. It doesn't matter if he's an open hand or a fist. I can still grab the fist, come in. My hands are out of the way of the wrist, so I have his hand encased. You know, my thumbs are in the back. I have his whole fist encased, and I'm twisting on that wrist as to take him down. The footwork that's working with this is as I'm coming in, I have to pivot, stepping with my right and pivoting on that right, bringing my left back, bringing his hand down in front of my body. So I have my body weight. If I have him out here, remember you don't have any strength out there. I need him in here, twisting that wrist, getting that bend in, so I can put my whole body weight to take him down. So when you speed that up, you're coming in, you're pivoting, you're twisting, putting him on the ground. Once he's on the ground, there's a lot of the different finishing techniques. You can lock him out there and break his arm, drive it into his armpit. A lot of variations once he's on the ground. If he's dancing around a little, you just have to get your timing so you grab that wrist and take him down. To make that a little more dynamic, you jump up and come down. So as I'm grabbing the wrist, I'm jumping and reefing on that as I come down. Okay, that's real dangerous technique. Can really mess up a guy's wrist because you're getting your entire body weight up in the air, coming down on that nice little joint there, which doesn't take a lot of pressure to do a lot of damage. Okay, the next attack against the person's wrist, so we're going to step forward, we're going to break loose. Same as we did earlier, grabbing the hand, not the wrist. Your right hand, you're going to grab the forearm. You're going to dig this finger into that pressure point right in there, and you play around with your partner and you'll get where you can feel it and you press in. It gives him a little bit of pain, that's what you want. As you're doing this, your left hand is sliding around to bend his wrist up. So you need that smooth motion sliding around. Your thumb is inside, your fingers are on the back, you're not in the wrist way, and you bend that up forward. This hand, as you're squeezing that forearm, you're bending his arm. So you're doing that simultaneously to bring it up here. Remember, on these techniques, you want your weight involved, not just your arm strength, but your body. So you're going to step forward with your left so you can get your body involved to put him down to the ground. From here, it's real familiar. You got the lock here, you got the solar plexus, you have the head, a lot of different targets once he's on the ground. The keys on these, first key is a very quick escape and grab. Okay? You have to get that hand free, and you have to get that grab on the hand so you can still bend his wrist. Grabbing this hard, and hitting his arm hard, really digging your fingers into the forearm, into those tendons to cause him some pain as you yank his arm up, and rotating that hand as you go up. So it's a very quick rotation, and notice I still have his hand, his wrist locked, and then getting your body weight behind it to put him to the ground and finish him off. So we'll do it a little bit quicker. The same technique, we can do it from the punch, just like all of them. You can do it from a variety of situations. So here, if I'm right foot forward, he's throwing a punch, I'm getting out of the way and blocking it. Left hand is the hand that's grabbing that forearm. Digging that in, grabbing the hand. Remember, not the wrist. Slide down on the hand so you can bend that wrist down. So as you're grabbing, you're twisting it around this way. Okay, so once you have it locked here, you're stepping back to get your weight into it. So you have him locked here, stepping back to get your weight to take him down, finish him off. Okay, so to go through this a little quicker. Now let's say you're standing left foot forward and the punch is coming, we'll go slow. I'm still stepping offline, blocking. However, with this foot out here, it's a little easier for me to just walk through like in the original technique. So it's the same mechanics, I've just walked through to get my weight behind it. So it would look like this. Offline, step through. Let's look at another joint manipulation technique involving the wrist, and again we'll start from the basic wrist grab so you can understand the mechanics of the technique. Okay, from the wrist grab, we're going to step, we're going to take our left hand, grab right on the wrist, because later we're going to move that hand down, slide it down to his hand. But for right now, it's right on the wrist. We're going to roll our right hand, roll the fingers back to get loose. Put the pressure, he goes up on his toes, you're doing it properly. As you do this, you're going to step through with your right foot. Keeping this in front of you, remember that power position, right? Close in front of your body. After the step, you're going to turn, the right hand slides down the hand a little. As you go under, it twists, you have that hand, so you can bend that wrist again. Keeping your left hand straight, you come straight down to drop him on his back. From here, it's just like all the others, you have the finishing techniques. The important part of this is when you're stepping and going here is to keep it in front of your body until you're ready to turn. If you start bringing it up and turning too soon, you've lost it and he can counter and pull you off balance. You have to keep it in the power position till the turn. We'll go through it a little faster this time. From there, finish him off. This technique works just as well going the other direction. Same principle here. Stepping back with my left, so I'm pivoting backwards. Again, keeping it in the strong position in front of me until it's time to turn. Once I'm turned, bring him straight down. So that one a little faster. Just like the other techniques, this technique works with the punches also. So as I'm ready for the punch, it comes, I'm stepping to his inside, getting offline 45. Remember, most important is not getting hit by that punch. Second is a joint technique if you can get it. If you can't get it, you go to something else. I've stepped offline, I've blocked, my hand slides up to the wrist, I bring it down in the circle, getting into my strong area, stepping through. Remember, keeping it in front of me where it's strong until I'm ready to turn. As I turn, my right hand is bending his wrist and straight down. So with that one a little quicker. It's okay to keep a hold of it with both hands as you pull also. There's nothing wrong with keeping both hands. You can do it with one. Having the two is okay also. Both hands grabbing the hand so you get that bend right here and bringing him down. Try it one more time. Up until now, we've been attacking the wrist this direction, bending it. It's not the only way we attack the wrist in Hapkido techniques. So to get a basic principle, we'll start from a wrist grab again. I'm going to step in, curl up. I'm curling up so this part of the hand is available so I can grab a hold. I'm going to rotate my hand. By rotating it, I can break his grip through that weak thumb, and I can grab the big fleshy part of his hand here. And now I'm just twisting. The wrist only twists so far in this direction, and then the rest of the arm and body has to follow. So as I'm twisting, I'm also pivoting back, keeping it in my strong position to put him down to the ground. Once he's down here, remember I told you about that elbow earlier, how it only goes one direction? Well, right there, and I have that in, you can break his arm or just lock him up. While you're doing that, you can take his hand and bend it down so you have a wrist lock and the elbow to put the pressure, twist a little until he taps out. And you have him controlled there, and if you need be, you can break things if the situation warrants that much force. So again, we're stepping in and curling up to get it into a strong position for us, weak for him, rotating our hand to get that grab, stepping back, put him down, locking out his elbow and his wrist if needed. So a little quicker, it would look. Notice when I'm doing that, as I'm pivoting, I'm keeping his arm in my center of body, but I'm lowering my body not by bending over, but by using my legs to take him to the ground. I'm not standing straight-legged and try to do it. You get down to do it. Let's look at another variation with that same principle. Okay. First I'm going to escape. Remember, through that thumb. So it's a quick, sharp action to release that hand through the thumb as I'm grabbing his hand with the left again. Again, I have complete control of the wrist because I have control of the hand. My right hand is going to grab the fleshy part, and at the same time I'm going to step. Again, keeping it in front of my body, because that's my strong area, until it's time to turn. So when it's in front of me, I turn. When I bring it here, I'm twisting his wrist that way, which again puts him on his back. I'm straight back up where I can lock his elbow out, still have the twist on his wrist. So to do that one a little faster, the important thing to remember isn't so much the techniques, but remember what I've told you about the wrist. When you have the hand, you can do the wrist this way, this way, this way, this way. You can twist that and lock it up and cause this individual pain. So in the middle of anything, you're in a fight and you're tumbling, you're wrestling around on the ground, whatever you're doing, you can get a hold of that hand somehow and twist that wrist and cause him some pain. It can buy you some time to go on and do other things. While we're working with joint locks involving the wrist, it's also a great joint to practice come-along techniques, to get this guy to go out the door when you want to go out. The first one we'll start again from this position since it's a basic learning tool. First, I'm going to curl up just a little and then reverse my curl where I can grab his hand. Okay, so it's a real simple little release. It needs to be done fast, and we're working that circle again. Remember Hapkido in the circle. So it's a little curl up, then a quick twist around. Okay? If he's really grabbed on tight, then you need to go a little bit faster, and you just lock it around. Your hand is grabbing where his thumb's at. So the meaty part of his hand, the thumb is over here in the hand, so you still can bend his wrist. You're not getting in your own way again. So after that release, you have the hand. Your left hand is going to hit that elbow joint. That middle finger is going to drive right into that joint, causing some pain and pressure to bend his arm. So you need it to bend. So you hit it hard, bend it up. As you're doing that, you're going to pivot back so you're standing beside him, and you're going to lock that arm in. Bring your other hand up to help, and by putting that downward pressure on the wrist, you have this little gooseneck. It brings him up on his toes, and then he gets willing to go where you want to go. If he starts to resist, you just really crank down on that, and the pain will stop him. If you have to break his wrist, that'll stop him too. But usually, once you have it locked in, he goes up on his toes, he's real easy to move around. A lot of people will teach this gooseneck, but they teach having the elbow down here and holding it. This will cause pain, but if you want to get more pain, put his elbow right up on the pad of your shoulder. Okay, right in the hollow where your chest and shoulder is, there's that little indentation. Bury his elbow right there, so you got him up high, and then you're reaching and pulling down, driving him up on his toes, walking him out the door, or wherever you need to walk him. So we'll do it one time a little bit quicker. So from the grab, you get him right up there, reach up with the other hand, and you have him locked in. Now, granted, maybe you're not going to be doing this from a wrist grab, but if you notice, after I'm free from the grab, what am I doing? I'm just holding his hand in this position. So I have this big burly guy picking on this guy over here, and I need him out of a bar or wherever I'm at. I come up, I grab his hand in that position. While I'm grabbing his hand, I'm grabbing his elbow with this hand and bending it. Got it up? We're right there. So that little release was just a practice tool to show you that what you really need is that hand grab. So it works real nice if the guy's looking over there and you come up behind him and slip that in and say, we're going this way, and walk him out the door. We've mentioned a lot of ways to take the guy down. Sometimes on his back, sometimes on his stomach. Maybe you just pile drove him down there. But you got the guy on the ground. He's not out, he's still conscious, and you just put him there, but you need to get him outside, okay? So we want to put on hold on him while we still have him down here. When I take his hand in this up position, so his elbow's faced up, so that's how we got his wrist, I want to put my thumb right between his fingers, so split those fingers, and then grab that thumb in there too, so I got a good grip on here. And I want to do this while he's still down. And if he's struggling to get up, I may have to give him some incentive to stay here for a moment. And lots of different ways you can do that. So I have him down. Now when I have this hold on, I'm ready to let him up. And so I'll say, okay buddy, let's stand up. As he's standing up, I'm controlling that elbow. And I'm going up with him. I'm twisting in where I have him locked in here and get him up on his toes. Again, we got that joint lock. It's just a different variation. He gets up on his toes, and I say, let's go outside. Okay? Okay? He's very easy to maneuver once he's in this position. The next techniques we're going to look at work primarily against the shoulder, with the elbow and wrist as secondary, sort of in chicken wing positions. So the first one, again, we'll start from the basic wrist grab so you can get the idea of the technique. I'm going to step forward and shoot this hand straight down. While I'm doing that, I'm going to reach over the top and hook the elbow. I'm hooking it hard with that middle finger so I can get some bend in it. And I'm going to be yanking it this way and bending that arm. At the same time that I'm yanking it, this hand is going to shoot up. And you'll notice when I'm shooting up, it's shooting right through that weak spot of his thumb again. So as it shoots through, it breaks his grip. And as I'm shooting through, I'm going to pivot backwards, and my arm is shot up through. This arm is bent up back, and I have the pressure. This is creating torque on the shoulder. So as I'm pushing down with my hand on his upper arm, this part of my arm is pushing up, and it's creating a lot of pain and pressure into the shoulder socket. Now as I'm doing this and rotating backwards, I'm also going to go down to the ground, which spins him around into this position. I still have him locked up, where by pressing down with my hand, raising up with this, it puts the pressure, causing him to tap out. Again, if you wanted to, you could move the hand up here, free your hand, strike down into the head, do a variety of things once you have him on the ground, or you can just hold him there. If you want, you can go to the technique we talked about earlier where we had the fingers. Now let's get up, and we had the come-alongs. There's a lot of things you can do once you have them into this position. So we'll go through it again just a little faster. We're stepping and grabbing, we're pulling and rotating, and we're spinning him to the ground, putting the pressure to get him to give up. So full speed, we'd be Okay, now we'll show the same technique against the very popular right hand cross. Now, as he slowly throws the punch, I'm stepping offline with my left to a 45, getting out of the way. As I'm stepping, I'm turning my body. Okay, so that's the key point there, is the step and the turn. The fist has gone past me, so I'm okay. Now, as you're doing that, you're throwing the left hand up, you're blocking with the arm, the forearm, sliding down to where you have control of his wrist. Right there. As you're doing that, the right arm is coming down to hook that elbow again. So you're hooking that elbow, and your left hand is shooting up under into this. So it's not a full grab when you go by like we did before. It's just down to the wrist and circling around the wrist. And then we bend it up and we're into that same thing. And as we're doing this, we're pivoting. So we're coming around this side to take the guy to the floor. Again, we have that shoulder and arm locked up. It just takes a little bit to cause the pressure to get him to tap out. Again, the important keys as the punch is coming, getting out of the way and keeping your arm up there, grabbing the elbow to bend it, the circle up into it, bring him around. Make sure when you're bringing the person around, you're going down with your body and not just bending over with the guy. So as you circle and pivot, you get low, using your legs and your body, but keeping your back straight, not bending over like this to a person. So to do it a little bit faster, and to do a full speed. Same technique, same principles, you're just doing it off the punch. we'll continue with our chicken wing type movements and do a different variation, starting again from the grab. And this one, as I step, I want to catch his wrist in that arc hand. So that's the escape. I'm escaping through the thumb again, using that, pulling out of his hand and grabbing his wrist. At the same time, my left hand is grabbing him in the elbow, digging the thumb into that joint, grabbing hard, putting some pain in there as I step through with my left and bring his arm up behind him. As I have it locked up, I have his weight going that way. I need to step with my left foot, one step, to drive him down to the floor. Once I have him to the floor, my knee can keep his arm locked up like that, while my hand can strike down to the head to finish him off in a variety of ways. So again, we're stepping and grabbing. We're stepping through and bending it up. We're stepping and driving him to the ground. Covering his hand in a variety of ways to finish off the assailant if need be. If not, just keep him here pinned till you have help come or whatever you have to do, depending on the level of force needed for that situation. Remember, with all of these techniques, only go to the degree that's necessary. If it is necessary and you have to leave the guy laying, fine. If you just need to immobilize him, that's your best bet, because you will answer to authorities if you hurt somebody too seriously. So to do it a little faster, stepping through, up, down, finish. This same technique, it works with a punch. A lot of times we've been working with the right cross, which is the most common punch. Probably the second most common punch you'll find out there on the street is the hook. This one is actually a little bit better for a hook because we're going to move inside. The straight right, a lot of times I'd rather go to the outside, use one of the techniques that you do from the outside. A hook, you can't go to the outside, that's where it's coming. You have to get offline through the middle. And this one works good for that. So as I'm ready, he's throwing a hook, I'm stepping in and blocking. As I block, I'm grabbing this elbow and walking through, twisting up that wrist, and bringing him right down here, locking the arm, finishing. The same motion, just going to the other side. So I'm here, I'm stepping and blocking, grabbing, stepping through, wrenching it up, taking him to the ground, finishing him off. We'll try it a little faster. We're going to keep throwing some different punches and some variations of locks that work against the shoulder, and secondarily the elbow helps you get the leverage against the shoulder. So as he throws a punch, I'm going to block it. With my right hand, I'm going to hit it hard in that joint to bend it some. Okay, hitting it hard, bends his arm. I'm shooting my left hand through and underneath, trapping his wrist in my armpit so he can't pull his arm out. And as I raise up on the left, it puts the pressure on his shoulder that he wants to fall backwards. As I'm doing this, I take a step back with my right to help keep him off balance. The bigger step I make, the more backwards it takes him. You have the option of just dropping him. Once his center of balance is gone and he's leaning, the only thing keeping him up is you. And it's your option to dump him on his head. Okay, for right now, for training purposes, we don't want to drop Brian on his head, so we're just doing it a little easier. So I'm blocking, hitting, wrapping it up, pulling him backwards. You can see he's off balance, going backwards more for me to take him on the ground. It also leaves him nice and open for my right hand to start punishing his body when he's in that vulnerable position. As he does it and I lock him in, there's all sorts of nice things I can do here. If you try something with that hand, I just have to do a little bit more here and dump him. If I want to help dump him, I can help it just like that. A lot of things you can do once you have the hand trapped and locked up. The next one we'll look at from a punch again. Again, we're stepping inside. Key thing is getting offline, blocking. As I block, I'm coming over with my arm, and it's this wrist bone, that nice hard bone here that's hitting him hard, that's helping bend his hand, or bend his elbow to get his hand going up. As that comes, my left is slowly coming down to grab, my right is grabbing my left arm, and I can lock him in. And once I still have this lock on, I can still cause him pain to get him to tap out. So a little bit faster. The same technique works if I go the other way. So we'll do a slow at first. I'm blocking, same block, same getting offline. Instead of coming over the top, I'm going to catch his wrist and come up underneath. Grab my wrist this way, and I still have him locked up. Take him down and apply the pressure to get him to tap out and do what I want. So doing that one a little faster. The next joint we're going to talk about and attack is a finger joint. A lot of people, when you think of joint locks, they always think the wrist, elbow, shoulder. They forget the finger is a joint, and you can cause a lot of pain to your opponent by utilizing the natural movement, which bends in easy this way, but they don't bend so good that way. The first move is a traditional Hapkido Hoshinsul defense from a wrist grab. I'm going to step in, grabbing the wrist, and rolling my hand down to break the grip. Locking those fingers back, and I'm causing a little pain now. You can bring a guy up on his toes, and you know you have it right. As I've done this, I've put my weight forward. Now I'm going to release that pressure some, pulling back and down as I grab the fingers, starting with the little finger and crunching them all up to the index finger as I make a circle and then go push him down, dropping him to his knees. Once he's here, he's going to listen to you and do what you want, or he's in a perfect position for you to do other things. So one more time, it's the grab and curl, and you're making a circle to drop him to his knees. So when you would do this quick, and you have him right down there. His head, you notice, is in a very vulnerable position if you want to continue. Okay. Where I really like the finger techniques is when the guy's behind you. So he's behind me, he's grabbed, interlocked. Now sometimes they teach, to try to pry that. The way that we like to do it in Hapkido is take your hands, squeeze his fingers, and even if he's holding on tight, you're going to squeeze and you're going to work his fingers out. Once you get a hold of one, you don't want to pull it out this direction, you want to pull it straight back. So you're going to try to touch his finger to his forearm. And as you pull that back, you're going to spin and take him right down to the ground. If you want to take him all the way down and spin his hand back, lock his hand, and then he's vulnerable for those punches and such like we've done before. It's up to you where you would like to stop the technique. But the full thing, grab it, work his fingers out, grab that finger, spin around, take him down, wrap his arm up, and deliver the finishing shot. Say we want to go the other way. He's grabbed, I pry the fingers, I have a finger, I take it out here. Sort of looks familiar, doesn't it, how we work that wrist? So as I'm grabbing and turning, I'm grabbing that palm. As I spin around, we got that wrist lock again. We can dump him on his back. So one technique flows into the other. We have that lock, and it spins him right around that way. The same thing works for a full Nelson. He has him up here. It's that same squeeze, grabbing the finger, bending it straight down, right, bring it right to his elbow, and ideally what you're thinking is to bring it straight past his elbow down to the floor here. And your arms and fingers don't go that far, and so when you get it down there, you know you've succeeded. This is as far as I want to take Frank without injuring him. So it's real simple. Grab the finger straight down to the shoulder and be thinking down this direction. The nice thing about fingers is they work no matter what. If you're wrestling around, he's in front of you, he's behind you. If you can get that finger and remember that bending him back hurts, you have something. He might just be right here. I grab. 2 fingers is great. If you only grab 1, that's okay too. But if you can grab 2 and bend those back, bend them up to read his palm, go up high, okay? It's very simple. All you have to do is get a hold of that hand, yank those up. And we just heard a little crack right there, and I was doing it fairly easy. When you want to really wrench those things up there, you can break his fingers. The nice thing is it hurts him, but if you're talking to the police later, a broken finger isn't as serious as crushing his windpipe, smacking his skull against concrete. You know, a broken finger is going to heal, and it is very painful and a good way to end a little confrontation. Traditional Hapkido has many throws and sweeps. A lot of these are very complicated and difficult to do. There are 2 throws that I personally like because I've used them in actual situations, so I know firsthand they do work. The first one is traditionally taught, again, from a wrist grab when you first learn this throw. As he grabs, the hand motion is a circle to grab his wrist. So you're coming under, circling, grabbing his wrist. As you're doing this, you're stepping with your right foot beside his foot. Okay? I'm pulling him back with this hand. This hand is pulling back and down. My left hand is going up to his shoulder. My left foot is coming around, striking him back. So I'm going to be coming fast to strike him behind the leg, pushing with the left hand, pulling with the right arm. So we'll do this one a little bit slow. Circle, circle, grab, sweep, and put him on his back. You want all 3 things going simultaneously. The pull, the push, and the sweep of the leg going backwards. So a little bit faster, and dump him on the ground. In a real situation, this is the same, this is the same. Instead of hitting the shoulder, you can hit right up under the chin, driving him back that way. That ensures that his head hits first. Now by saying that, by ensuring his head hits first, you're in a serious altercation and you want to do damage to this person. His head hitting the ground can have some serious consequences, so if it's not that serious, go with the shoulder. That gives him the opportunity, he can tuck his head and protect himself a little bit better. You drive his head back, it's going to hit, and there can serious injuries can result. This same throw, what I really like it for and where I've used it, if you're in a clinch situation, you know, and this often happens, you'll be struggling around with a guy. You know, he's trying to push you that way, you're pushing him that way. Okay? Get a hold of that elbow. His wrist is a little tough, so here, you get a hold of that elbow and you can control where he's going. Stepping here, getting my body weight to help me as I hook that leg and throwing my whole body. Right here. From here, you know, we have all those different things we can do once he's on the ground. Again, we're clenched up, we're fighting. My hand into his chin, pushing back here with that hard sweep is going to drive his head into the ground. Okay, I'm not going to do that right now because I need him for the next technique. But in a real situation, and it's real serious, this hand right up under that chin, and then go into your sweep, and it puts the back of his head right into the dirt, the pavement, whatever you're fighting on. From a punch situation, he's punching, same thing. I'm inside, I'm grabbing, I'm controlling that elbow. Where I can take that elbow, he's going to go. So as I'm here, and I come in with the footwork, and dump him on the ground. Okay. Very easy throw, very effective throw. And that's what we want. I'm not going to show you all the different firemen carry throws, because in a real situation, you're not going to be able to do them. This one, you can do. The next throw that we're going to work on, you come in, it's a variation of a hip throw. It can be found in other martial arts. We used to do this throw in judo. We do it in Hapkido also. You're grabbing the wrist and pulling him here. Your right hand is shooting around his neck. Get a good headlock on. Okay, this is your controlling. Where his head goes, his body's going to follow. You know, as I'm doing this, I'm pivoting in, so I want my feet pointed the same way he was originally looking. I want to get low, using your legs, not just bending over with your back, but getting your hips down. My hips are what are going to give me the power to pull him over. I'm pulling with this, thrusting with my hips to pick him up. So as he goes over, lands right in front of me. Okay? From here, you have all those different things you have when a guy's laid out on the ground and you're standing above him. So again, controlling that arm to have something to pull with. Stepping in and pivoting as you grab the head. Getting your hips low, pulling him over. Dumping him on the ground. The keys to remember, give a good yank with this, hold on to that head tight. So where you have that head, that's where his body's going. Keep his weight coming this way. If you're standing up too much and you don't lower your hips, he can pull you backwards. So you have to get down by bending your legs, getting your hips underneath you. Remember, we want our power, his weakness. As he's bent over, now it would take his lower back to pick me off the ground. Okay? So I'm in the strong position, he's in the weak. Pull him over. This throw, or like earlier when we're clenched up, you can throw it in. If the punch is coming, it's when you block that hook and you're inside and come moving in on it. If he's just going to try to bear hug you, you move in on it. Okay? These are the situations where it's good to use. Now, I just showed you the nice clean, you dumped him in front of you. In reality, that doesn't always happen. We'll change the angles a little bit here so you get see what I'm doing. Doing the same throw, we're coming in and clinching. I'm shooting up, but instead of throwing him over nice and clean, which is sometimes difficult in a real fight, I'm going to drag him around with me right on top of him. Now you'll notice here, I have a really good position to start pounding his face. It takes me just a second to pull this arm out and slam my elbow down into the jaw, down into the temple, into the neck. A lot of things you can do once you have him under control down here. This is a little bit more realistic. It's not pretty to slam and dump the guy, but it takes him down, and when it takes him down, you're in control. He hits hard because he's the one hitting the floor. You're landing on top of him. He cushions it for you, and you're in that position for all those nasty things. So the guy's coming at you. Come here. Okay, finish him off. Those two throws I just showed you do work. I've done them for real. Another two of the Hapkido throws that I recommend that you do a little practicing with. I hope you've enjoyed this Hapkido Hoshinsul video. We tried to make it entertaining as well as informative, to give you some techniques and principles that you can actually take back to the dojang and practice, as well as use them in actual real-life self-defense situations. I wanted to give you a flavor of what Hapkido is like as I learned it in Gangneung, South Korea. But I also wanted to take my experiences from when I was served in the military, when I worked as a bouncer, when I worked security, where I had an opportunity to actually use self-defense techniques in actual confrontations. If you'd like to know a little bit more about the reality of fighting and what realistic self-defense is all about, I encourage you to read my book, Hard-Won Wisdom from the School of Hard Knocks, also through Paladin Press. I would like to thank two very important people in the production of this video, Brian Hurd and Frank Spears. This video couldn't have been made without them, and they've been longtime friends, and a lot of those real-life situations I wouldn't have came through quite as good without these two either. So they have my deepest respect and friendship. I would also like to thank Kwanjangnim Kim Young-jung, Sabunim Lee Jun-gyu, and Shihan Dennis Dallas, three men that have taught me much more than just martial techniques. Hapki!